Good afternoon. My name is Michael McDonough. I am the Executive Director of Marketing Communications here at Catholic Charities, New Hampshire. And today is our second installment of CCNH Inside Look, where you will get an up-close look into the various Catholic Charities New Hampshire programs and the impact that they're having on your own communities. Today is a very special session as we take a look at the topic of mental health, something that impacts anyone, no matter who you are in one way or another. And it's an area that has seen a lot of growing attention and conversation around, especially over the last year and a half with the pandemic and everything that is going on. Today, we are very honored and pleased to welcome Danielle Capel. She is one of our incredible licensed mental health counselors. Danielle works with adolescents, teens, adults, couples, and families, specializing in anxiety and depression, trauma, substance use, and life transitional adjustments. So with that said, we would like to turn the floor over to Danielle and welcome her.
Hello. So as Michael said, I'm Danielle. I have been licensed for the past 10 years as a mental health therapist. 5 of those years I was in Wisconsin, and my family and I moved here about 5 years ago. It's wonderful working at Catholic Charities. So a little bit about our program here is we have 6 mental health counselors in the state, and we work out of 9 offices, but we definitely reach more people than just in those 9 areas. With the 6 counselors, each one of us has a different area that we work in or specialize in, from trauma and using different techniques there, families, couples. Each counselor really has their own unique niche that they participate in and they see people in. So with that, we're able to reach a lot of people, but since COVID has happened, a lot of things changed, which many people know. So with COVID happening and offices shutting down, people mandated to stay home, things like that, mental health issues did not stop. So because of that, we were able to initiate some telehealth services. And with that, we were able to not only still reach the people that we were seeing, but also reach new people in all different areas of the state that we were not able to reach before. So now with telehealth, it's either over the phone or through Zoom or whatever video platform we're utilizing. We're able to reach people in areas of the state that may have been underserved before, and now they're seeing that they can get mental health services when they weren't able to get them before because they weren't able to get into either a mental health agency near them or a Catholic Charities agency. So switching to telehealth during the depths of the pandemic was a big shift that we were actually able to do rather quickly. When everything shut down, within a week, we were able to get our clients that we have and then new clients onto different telehealth platforms so that there wasn't a big delay in their mental health services, and people who either weren't able to get services before or maybe didn't really need them before were able to access services even when nobody was being seen in person. So getting that shift done, although it was done rather quickly, it was very smooth and able to really reach people in the North Country or in different areas of the state that maybe they didn't have access to mental health services before. So with that, our providers, the different counselors we have, also had to shift their focus. It's very different seeing people through either a computer screen like this or over the phone and not seeing them in person. So we were able to shift that and give people the services that they needed without either putting a delay in it or a huge pause in their treatment. So with that, we're still able to do telehealth services. Now that things are opening up a little bit more, some counselors are comfortable seeing people in person again, which is great. But we also are not going to stop telehealth services, because with those telehealth services, we're able to reach people that maybe we couldn't reach before. We're able to see people in towns that couldn't get into a Catholic Charities office, or people who can't leave their home, don't have transportation to different places. We're able to continue, even after the pandemic, to help these people, which is fantastic, because we don't ever want anybody to feel like they can't get services because they can't get to a specific office. Another great thing about that is, with each one of our therapists having different specialties that they work on, we're able to pair you up with a therapist that's the best fit for you. So I work in the Manchester and Concord offices, but maybe you live in Concord, but I wouldn't be the best fit for you. The great news is that we can pair you with the best therapist for you, and not just the one that's closest in proximity. So people are getting better services suited to their needs, instead of just getting whatever service is available to them, which is fantastic. Another thing that we've done is we've been able to have donors help us throughout the pandemic. The pandemic was really a trying time for so many people. Not only were people needing more services, but jobs were lost. People didn't have that income. People lost their insurance. They weren't able to pay for services, or they felt that they couldn't come for services. Throughout the pandemic, our donors played a crucial role for so many of our clients, because with the COVID relief fund that we had set up through donors, we were able to help clients who couldn't pay for services out of pocket, didn't have insurance, lost their insurance, lost their jobs. They were able to continue getting services, or finally get the services that they needed, because of the donor support that we had. So many of our clients, when they lost their jobs or they lost their insurance because of that, they were out of work and they still had to find ways to pay for groceries, to pay for housing, to pay for all the necessities in life. But mental health care is also a necessity in life. So with that, with the support of all of our donors, we were able to still get clients the services that they need and deserve. So we appreciate every person that donated. We appreciate every person that utilized those donations, because that meant that you were really working on yourself as well. So it's fantastic, and donor support played a huge role throughout the COVID experience. It's still playing a huge role, and so many more people were able to access services, not just because of our telehealth option, but also because of the donor support that we had. And with that, we're going to continue to flexibly reach people. Telehealth is not going anywhere. Telehealth is going to stay not only for Catholic Charities, but for a lot of different places too. It's very important for people to feel like they're able to access the services, whereas in the past, maybe they didn't feel like it was even accessible to them. So that is something we're absolutely going to continue to do, because it's important as a therapist to work on ending the stigma associated with mental health. And one way to end that stigma is to continue to offer those services to people who didn't have them offered to them before. So ending that mental health stigma is going to be very important. With mental health, it's just as important as physical health, and I stress that so much. A lot of people will go to the doctor for a checkup. You don't just go to the doctor when you're sick, feeling down, required to go. People go for checkups. People go for their yearly physical just to make sure that they're doing okay. Mental health is the same way. It does not have to be due to a crisis or something that is gigantic impacting your life. Mental health and physical health are so intertwined that it's important to keep up on your mental health just as you do your physical health. And with those being connected, the better your mental health is, the easier it is to keep up on your physical health as well. So some statistics for New Hampshire specifically, and why mental health care is so important, especially now, is that 1 in 5 US adults experience mental illness every year. So that's 1 in 5 people. That's 4 people in this talk right now experience that. Over 200,000 adults in New Hampshire alone have a mental health condition. That's 5 times the population of Concord. So there's people all over the state who are suffering from mental health illnesses. And that's not just the severe mental health illness, which is things that are prominent in their everyday life. It's some anxiety, some depression, and those issues really have increased over the pandemic as well. In New Hampshire, and why Catholic Charities is incredibly important, especially in the mental health realm, 70,000 adults in New Hampshire did not receive the mental health services that they needed over the past year. Because of cost, 41% of those people did not seek services. So cost is a huge factor in why people don't seek the services that they really need. With that, Catholic Charities not only takes insurance if you have it, but we also have a wonderful sliding scale fee for those who don't have insurance or have a huge deductible that is impossible to reach and really can't afford the out-of-pocket cost of a lot of different counseling agencies. So Catholic Charities has devised a sliding scale fee so that it can be accessible to those without insurance, to those who can't afford their insurance, to those who can't afford their co-payment and their deductible. We want to make sure that cost is not hindering people from seeking the services that they really need and deserve. Because with 41% of the people that did not receive mental health services but needed it, the cost is huge. In New Hampshire alone, over 6% of people aren't insured. So that is a huge portion as well. We want to make sure that just because you don't have insurance doesn't mean that you can't get services that are going to improve your life. In addition to that, we also have counselors who work with adolescents and teenagers. It's not just adults experiencing these problems. Kids were out of school doing telework from remote learning with their schools, and it was very isolating and difficult for people. High school students with depression are 2 times more likely to drop out of high school than their peers. 56% of Granite State children aged 12 through 17 who have depression did not receive any care. So it's not that it's just adults not getting care. There's a lot of teenagers who aren't getting the care they need either. With Catholic Charities, we also offer services to teenagers. So we're able to help them. We're able to help college students. We're able to really help a wide variety of people. And with telehealth, it's much easier to reach those people now as well, because it's not them rushing after school or missing a practice. It's them being able to just get on the computer or go sit in their car on their phone. It doesn't even have to be that you're in front of a computer in a set place. It's people getting on their phone and being in their car on their lunch break. It's people being able to find that time that fits for them, not just the therapist. So it's really widened not only our services, who we reach, but the people who felt they couldn't get services because they are only available on weekends or after 7 on weeknights. Now they're able to take 45 minutes of their lunch break to work on themselves and really improve that. So with everything that's gone on in the world and the increase in isolation, depression, anxiety, not only are we able to reach more people, but more people are recognizing that mental health issues need to be taken care of. More people are seeking services currently. We have people calling on a regular basis who call us and say, you know, I didn't even know Catholic Charities had counseling, but I've reached out to so many other places and either it's a 6-month wait list or they're not even adding on to their wait list anymore. So having places finally realize that Catholic Charities also offers counseling services, and not just in a handful of locations, but for anybody all over the state, has been very helpful. And we're able to get people in much quicker than some of the bigger agencies have been able to, because they just put a stop to their wait list, whereas we will try and get you in as quickly as possible. With Catholic Charities, it is incredibly awesome that we're able to offer these services to everyone who qualifies. To those who, as I said before, may not be able to afford it, the fact that we're able to do this, the things that we love, and get more people services that they need is beyond amazing. I think I have anything. I know we have a couple questions.
We do, and thank you for the questions. Again, if you have any questions, you're encouraged to just type them into the chat box. I see two here. First from Renee. Renee, thank you for the question. What about EAP coverage through an employer?
Yes, reach out to your EAP provider. They usually have a list of people. Several of our counselors are on those lists. So we do take EAP through employers. I believe at least 4, if not 5 of our counselors now are on many different insurance lists. We get referrals from EAPs all the time, and they're great because then you have a solid list of who's there to offer it. And most of us are on that list. So yes, we do take EAP.
Great, thank you, Renee. Martha Jo had a great question too as well. So how does the referral process work? So how does someone seeking these services reach out? What's the best way to reach out to us, whether it's them individually or somebody they want to refer?
Perfect. So many doctors' offices will refer people directly to us, give their information out. If you have insurance, reach out to your insurance provider and they can give you a list. We have a lot of people who call and say, hey, you are on my list of insurance, people who accept my insurance, which is fantastic. So never be afraid to reach out to your insurance provider. You can also call any of our district offices, and they will take your information and send you to our intake person who will get more information. And then we help decide which counselor is the best fit for you, if we have one. And then that counselor will directly reach out to you to get more in-depth information. We also now have a feature on our website where you can submit your information and have one of us directly reach out to you. So on the Catholic Charities website, under counseling, you can put your name and information on there, so that we will then reach out to you. I know a lot of people with anxiety don't like making those initial phone calls. So having that initial interaction be through the website has been a huge asset to us.
Another great question as far as, teletherapy and Zoom versus in-person, counseling. Obviously, Zoom may work for some people and not for others. So have we received any client feedback as far as the effectiveness of it versus traditional methods?
Absolutely. So I, as a provider, prefer in person. I like seeing the whole person, the way that they carry themselves, how they are. I also like people coming into my office because that's a place for them to work on themselves versus sitting at home doing their therapy and then being at home again where the problem is no matter what. Teletherapy, there's been a ton of studies showing that it works just as well as in-person therapy. There are studies showing that although you are only seeing each other over a screen, it's still just as helpful. Getting any kind of service is helpful to you. I have plenty of clients who would prefer to do teletherapy, and now that we have it, they don't want to come back in the office because it just fits their needs better. I also have clients who say, I want to come back in the office, be able to sit there face to face and leave my issues in your office. So we've gotten great feedback either way, and hopefully as the pandemic starts to lessen, more and more people will be able to come into the office.
Yeah, there are certain situations, obviously, if someone has experienced trauma, in person might be a little bit more effective as far as that's concerned. Danielle, just to dovetail off that question a little bit, we've seen a growing demand among adolescents. How are they viewing teletherapy? Is it something they're receiving well for the most part, or do a lot of other adolescents really prefer the in-person model?
Surprisingly, the adolescents love the teletherapy. That's their niche. That's what they know. They know technology. So for them to be able to take 45 minutes out of their day, but still at home, where mom and dad don't have to rush them to a counseling service and then they have to spend the time afterwards. We've seen a lot of adolescents absolutely just love the telehealth services because they're in their comfort zone, they're in their safe place at home, or they're able to still get to their sports practice or play practice or whatever club they're in. They're able to still continue to do that, but also get the services that they know they need. We do have some who still prefer in person because it gets them out of their environment, but for the most part, a lot of our younger clientele really adapted amazingly. And I think a lot of that is also because remote learning through school, they were used to it at that point.
Just a last call for questions. We have one from Sean here as well. So who's eligible to receive mental health services from Catholic Charities?
So with mental health services, as long as it is something that we feel we can help you with, part of the ethical code for counselors is that we only take on people who we know that we can serve them well. If it's outside of our realm of knowledge, if it's outside of our schooling, it's something that we will refer you to somebody who can help you the best they can. So with mental health services, give us a call. We really, cost of payment is not a hindrance for us. We will talk to anybody, and if we cannot offer you the services you need, then we will certainly find you a place that can and refer you to places that are able to help you.
Great. So we have, looks like a question, 2 additional questions from Renee coming in here. I believe she might be typing them. So Renee, if you want to unmute yourself and ask them, if that's easier, we're happy to address them.
Sure, that's probably faster. Thank you. I had 2 questions with regard to middle school age kids. The first question is if you think that there may be a need to have some testing done for perhaps executive function deficiencies, do you offer those services, or would you just direct people to another practice that does?
Typically for that, we would direct you to your primary care provider for the adolescent. We don't do any kind of testing because that's usually done by either a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Sure.
We would love to do that. We don't have a psychologist or a psychiatrist on board with us at the moment, but definitely going to your primary care provider is the very first thing, and they would know exactly where, if not there themselves.
Okay, thank you. And then the other question also regarding that age group. Do you folks have visibility to other Catholic counselors in local communities? I don't know if there's any sort of network where you kind of know, like if you don't have the people to accommodate everybody, or you don't have somebody that is proving to be a good fit, do you kind of have your feelers out for, oh, so-and-so works at this practice, and I know they're a, good, faithful Catholic? And
yes, we definitely have connections with other agencies depending on what people are looking for. If we are not able to provide it, we will try our hardest. We will look into all the different resources. We do have some connections with other agencies where even if they don't have it listed, we'll know, okay, this would be a great fit for what you're experiencing and really what you need.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you, Renee. So we are at the just about the 30-minute mark here. So I just wanted to wrap things up briefly. On your screen here is some information in case you want to learn more about our mental health counseling services that Danielle mentioned, or the topic of mental health in general. We're happy to answer any questions or feedback you may have. I've also included Danielle's email here as well. And as Danielle mentioned, we've been in a fortunate position over the past 1.5 years to meet this growing demand in our services that we've seen through donor support and the crisis fund. But the need remains great, and donor support is obviously key for us in the path forward to allow us to continue to serve individuals who are struggling emotionally in these challenging times. I will email these links over this afternoon. as well as a recording to this session. We will be doing additional CCNH Inside Looks over the coming weeks, so definitely stay tuned to your email for more information with that. And again, thank you, Danielle, for taking the time today, and thank you all for taking the time with this conversation. We do very much appreciate it, and we hope that everyone has a wonderful afternoon.